Peanut butter jelly time, peanut butter jelly time, peanut butter jelly time. Where you at? Where you at? Where you at?
When I was a kid and watched American TV shows and people said they were having a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, I was pretty confused because to my British brain, jelly isn't something you put in a sandwich. It's something that you have as a dessert and it all wobbles around. Peanut butter and jelly sandwiches started to make a lot more sense to me, however, when I found out that jelly is the American English term for jam. At least I think it is anyway. This is way more complicated than I thought it was going to be, so let's get into it. Let's start with what I, a British English speaker, would refer to as jam. Jam is usually a collective term for fruit-based spreads, more specifically, ones that are made from fruits that we refer to as berries. And yes, I know many of these berries aren't actual berries, but that's a topic for another time. In most British supermarkets, you're likely to find things like strawberry jam, raspberry jam, blueberry jam, and so on. Quote-unquote jams made of other kinds of fruits go by different names, like marmalade for orange-based jams, curd for lemon-based jams, or just preserve. In fact, I think preserve is the collective term for all these kinds of things because they are a way of preserving fruit when they weren't in season. So yeah, preserve. Back when you couldn't just get fruit all the time, you wanted a strawberry in winter, that wasn't going to happen, so you had to make it into a preserve, and that's where that term came from. In the UK, jams come in different consistencies too. Sometimes you'll find actual chunks of fruit in them, sometimes just seeds, and sometimes they're completely smooth and more paste and, well, jelly-like. Traditionally, a jam is made with just fruit, sugar, and sometimes a kind of starch called pectin. But I imagine some cheaper jams have other ingredients in them too, like artificial colourings and flavourings or that kind of gunk. What you really need to know, however, is that in British English, if it's a spread made with some kind of berry, it's called a jam regardless of consistency. I mention this because that isn't the case at all in the USA. So what is jam called in the USA then? Well, it's simply called jam. Finding this out kind of broke my brain a little bit. Like, if they still call jam jam, then what on earth is the jelly inside a peanut butter and jelly sandwich? Well, the jelly in a jelly sandwich is also what British English speakers would call jam. Like I said, this is way more confusing than it has any right to be. The reason it is so confusing is because while in British English, jam is used for fruit preserves regardless of consistency, in American English, that isn't the case at all. In American English, jam is used to specifically refer to a fruit preserve that contains actual chunks of fruit in it, whereas jelly is used in the USA to refer to a kind of fruit preserve not so much made of actual fruit, but more fruit juice from fruit that has been strained out, and a lot of sugar too in some cases. It's this stuff that you would find traditionally in a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And while American English does use the word jam for that more fruity kind of jam, it seems that that kind of jam isn't as popular over there, with their jelly being eaten a whole lot more. Conversely, what Americans call jelly, I'm not entirely sure is that popular in the UK either. I think the closest we might have to it is some really cheap jam, made with all kinds of weird artificial flavourings and ingredients, you know the kind. I call it baby jam, sometimes it comes in like a squeezy bottle. Strange, very strange. But the key difference in regards to the British and American names of these preserves is that in British English, jam is used for pretty much all kinds of berry-based spreads, while in American English, jam and jelly are used for different kinds of berry spreads, depending on their ingredients and consistency. Now that I know this, it's kind of weird that British English has just one word for all these spreads when they're actually pretty different. I guess the main reason that we don't call jelly jam is because jelly is already being used for another thing entirely here in the UK. Before we continue, I want to say a huge thank to my most recent patrons. So thank you to new patrons Alex Rook, Eufemio, apologies about pronunciation there, and Wolfgang von Lustmacher, once again, apologies about pronunciation there. Patreon is the best way to financially support Name Explain, and donating just $1 a month gets you ad-free videos, a chance to say what names I'd explained, an exclusive monthly newsletter, and your name at the end of these videos. All that can be found at patreon.com/nameexplain, which will be linked down below. Conversely, if you want to just make a one-time donation, you can leave a super thanks directly in the comments section of any of my videos here on YouTube. They help out tremendously too. Thank you. Anyway, back to jelly. Here in the UK, jelly is used as a name for a kind of dessert which is wobbly and translucent and normally eaten at kids' birthday parties. The correct term for this food, however, is gelatin dessert. This kind of food does exist in the USA, however it isn't called jelly nor is it referred to as just gelatin dessert. It is most commonly referred to as Jello. This name is similar to jelly obviously, but the thing with Jello is it actually falls into the category of generic trademark. These are words that are actually trademarked to have become the generic word for specific things. Jello is actually the name of the USA's most popular gelatin dessert brand. So popular in fact that all gelatin desserts are referred to as Jello, regardless of their brand. In fact, on the Wikipedia page for generic trademarks, Jello is the example they use as their image. Sometimes this word is written as Jello without the hyphen, maybe for copyright reasons or something, or maybe people are just too lazy to write the hyphen, I don't know. And the last thing that makes this really confusing is that sometimes in British English, things that are more jam-like are actually referred to as jellies too. This is when we use jam-like spreads for savoury reasons. For example, mint or cranberry jam is used to serve different meats. And then you have the jelly inside a pork pie, which is traditionally made from animal hooves and bones. Yeah, you probably wouldn't want to serve one of those at a kid's birthday. So, in summary, in British English, jam is used for all berry-based spreads, while non-berry-based spreads are called things like marmalades and curds, and jelly is used for the dessert. However, jelly is also used for some jam-like substances when it's being applied to meat, while in American English, jam and jelly are used for different kinds of fruit-based spreads, depending on their ingredients and consistencies. But what they call jam isn't popular anyway. And what in British English we call jelly, they call Jello, which is a branded word anyway. Seriously, this is way more confusing than it has any right to be. Like, I've explained all kinds of things on this channel, and this is one of the most confusing things I've come across. How has this happened? And there's a chance you didn't agree with a word I said, and that's because these terms aren't set in stone by any means. What I just dictated as being called jam, you might call jelly, and vice versa. Please let me know what your take is on all this down below. And most of this video was research from my own experience with jams and jellies and talking to some American friends on the subject too. Also, I forgot to actually explain where any of these words come from an etymology perspective, but I had enough of my play with this one. Anyway, please suggest a topic down below which we could cover in next Monday's Name Explain video. It could be about literally anything, and the topic can be as niche or broad as you like. I will then choose 3 of those topics and place them in a poll exclusively for my patrons to vote on. Then the winner from that poll will be the topic covered in next Monday's Name Explain video. You can vote in that poll, as well as enjoy many other great benefits by visiting patreon.com/nameexplain, which will be linked down below, and by donating just $1 a month. Thank you. Anyway, that's more than enough from myself. Don't forget to go follow my Instagram where I'm NameExplainYT, and don't forget to join the Facebook page Friends of Name Explain, where you can chat with myself and many other name nerds. Okay all, take care. Let's get this done. And sometimes they're completely... What's that again? So, what is the jam? Well, this is a big bit I've left here. I might do this in 2 takes. There's not so much... Jam is used to specifically... I spat all over that one. The key difference in regards to the British... I absolutely just kind of ran with that last line. That isn't what's in the script, but we got the point across. Page 4... On the Wikipedia page for... Cool. Okay, bye.